أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا بشر أحدهم بالأنثى ظل وجهه مسودا وهو كظيم يتوارى من القوم من سوء ما بشر به أيمسكه على هون أم يدسه في التراب ألا ساء ما يحكمون للذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة مثل السوء ولله المثل الأعلى وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العلي العظيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. My respected elders, friends, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are all sitting at this very moment in the circle of interpretation of Quran. As Haji Sahib mentioning while he was announcing that month of Ramadan is heading very rapidly towards us, and soon we will be stepping into month of Ramadan, which is the month of Quran. Month of Ramadan is the month of Quran, in which the Quran was revealed. For every day or for every special occasion, there is a wazifa, a particular ibadat. The wazifa of month of Ramadan is the recitation of Quran. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the month of Ramadan, Jibreel alayhi salatu wasallam used to descend, and he would read the Quran to Jibreel alayhi salatu wasallam, and he would complete the Quran. In the month of Ramadan, every night he used to read 2 Qurans. And when we read the biography of our previous elders, we find them completing 1 Quran every day. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, these personalities would finish 1 Quran in the month of Ramadan every day. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He give me and you all the tawfiq that we attach ourselves with the Quran. In the month of Ramadan, we recite the Quran. The verses which I just recited before you are the verses of Surah Nahl. The undergoing surah is the Surah Nahl. And I've just recited a few verses of this surah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states the state of the period of Jahiliyyah, the pre-Islamic days before Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before Islam. And it was a society in which our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born. And it was a society who adopted evil thoughts, and they were involved in evil activities. One of those evil activities in which they were involved was they gave no value to a newly born girl. They thought they had this belief, this girl does not deserve to live. She doesn't deserve to live. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى. When one of them was given a glad tiding, good news of a baby girl, that a baby girl is born in your house, أَذَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says his face would become dark, gloomy, and he could not bear this news that I've become a father of a girl. No, I can't take this. And he would take this news as a shame and disgrace for himself. And he would hide himself from the people. What people will think about me, that I've become a father of a girl now. What they used to do, there were many tribes. There were 3 tribes who were well known of killing their daughters. Banu Mudar, Banu Tamim, and Bani Khuza'a. These 3 tribes. They wouldn't let the girls live. When the girl was born, they would get rid of this girl. Farzdak, it was a poet. He, in his poetry, writes, says that my father, Sa'asa, he was one of those who rescued these newly born girls. What he used to do, whenever he discovered a girl is born in this household, he would somehow convince the father, the family, and he would give them the camels. In exchange of the girl, he would say, take the camels from me and give me the girl. So Fazduk, in his poetry, he says, my father was the one who saved the lives of the girls. Our Prophet ﷺ was born in this society in which the girls were buried alive. In this very society he was born. And what they would do, when the girl was born in any household, if the father wanted to keep the girl and let her live, what he would do, they would dress this girl when she would grow up. They would dress with her woolen clothes, and they would make her graze the animals, the sheep and the goats in the jungle. This is your duty now. And if they wanted to get rid of the girl, they would let her live till 6 years. When she would become 6 years old, then the father would say to the wife, adorn your daughter today. And prior to this, he would have dug a pit in the jungle, and when the girl was adorned and dressed with good clothes, the father would hold her hand and take her to the jungle. And then he would take her there, and he would make her stand on the edge of the pit, and he would say to the girl, look inside. When she would look inside, he would push her from the back, and then he would fill that pit with the soil. Despite the girl screaming, crying, they were so hard-hearted people. They were so hard-hearted people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, mentions this of their evil treat which they were involved in, that they would not bear having a girl in their house. But these very same people, they disliked the girl from themselves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, they disliked something they attributed to me. They said the angels are girls and daughters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, look at this injustice. For themselves, they don't like girls. They would bury them alive. And for me, they're saying Allah has daughters. Angels are Allah's daughters. They would prefer for themselves boys. And for me, they would say angels are Allah's daughters. And why they would kill the girls? They would think the girls, they are weak. Woman, she's weak. She will be able to earn the money. Boys are the one who will earn the money. Today, in this day and age, there are so many parents who are fed up of their boys. You know what they say? They say, wish we had only girls, no boys. Why? Because of the attitude of the boys towards their parents. Because of their attitudes towards their parents, the parents are saying, wish we never had boys. So they would think, the girl, she's weak. She will not able to get anything at home, bring anything home. It's a boys. Secondly, they would think, what if a proposal comes from out of the family, out of our caste? They will marry our girls. No, we can't take this. No, let this girl go. They will bury her alive. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, the mother of all the believers, she was at home and a woman came begging. And she had with her 2 daughters. And she said, I'm poor, help me, I need something to eat. My daughters need something to eat. By chance, on that day, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha only had one date. She only had one date. She gave this one date to the woman, and she was observing what she's doing now. The woman, she made 2 parts of the date. She gave one to one girl and the other to the girl. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam later on came home, and she described this incident to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened. On another occasion, another woman came with 2 daughters. And that day, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, she came as a begging. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, on that very day, she had 3 dates. She came begging, and Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she gave these 3 dates to this woman. She gave one date to one daughter, the other one to the another, and third one she kept it for herself. The daughters were eating the dates, and she was about to eat her date. She was about to eat. One of the daughters asked her as well, for this one, give me this. She was about to eat. She didn't eat. She gave it to her daughter. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she observed this, and she was strongly affected by this. And then when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came home, she described this incident. This woman came, and I gave her 3 dates, and she gave her 2 to her daughters, and she was about to eat the third one, and the daughters, they asked her for the third one. She even gave that to the daughter, and she sacrificed this, and she didn't eat anything. Despite being hungry, she needed as well to eat something, but she didn't eat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said then, Man ibtuliya min hadhihi al-banati bi shay'in kunna lahu sitran min an-nar. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, the one upon whom the responsibility of daughters have been placed, when he had daughters, and he fa'ahsanna ilayhinna, and then he was kind to them. Fa'ahsana ilayhinna, he was very kind to his daughters. He looked after the daughters, fed them properly. He showed love to the daughters. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, kunna lahu sitran minan nar. On the day of judgment, if this very person, the father, because of some other sins, he was about to go to Jahannam, these daughters will become curtain, veil between him and the Jahannam. And they will say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, we will not let our father go into hellfire. Oh Allah, we will not let him go into fire. Oh Allah, we request you, we beg you, don't throw our father into hellfire. He looked after us. He fed us in dunya. He treated us fairly. He treated us nicely. He was very kind to us. Oh Allah, we beg you that you forgive him and cast him into paradise. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying these daughters will become barrier between him and the father, and they will not let him go to Jahannam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cast this father who treated his daughters very nicely. He will cast him into paradise. He will take him into paradise. These daughters will take the father to paradise. And another according to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man ala jariyatayn hatta tablugha adkhalahu Allahu biha al-jannah." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, he who looked after two daughters, and he took care of these two daughters until they became mature. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment will enter into paradise. He will go into paradise because of look after the daughters. Today in our society, don't think this was in Arab, in the days of Jahiliyyah, that the people disliked having a daughter in the house. It's happening today. It's even happening to so many women have been divorced. Why? Because they gave birth to a daughter. So many women in so many households are being treated rudely because they have only daughters. Because they only have daughters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ. The kingdom of the heaven and the earth belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ. He creates whatever He wants. Nobody can tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا وَيَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ ذُكُورًا. It is Allah Almighty who He gives, whom He gives daughters or whom He gives boys. Whatever He wills, He does it. If He wants to give someone daughters, He gives them daughter. And if He wants to give someone only boys, He gives them boys. أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانُ وَإِنَاثًا. There are some He combines for both, for the mother and father, both, meaning He gives them the boys and girls. And there are some who only gets girls and some only boys. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it is Allah who gives daughters and boys. It is not in the hand of any spiritual leader, any peer, any murshid to give the boy and the girls. This is today, our beliefs. Our beliefs. I always say on the day of judgment, don't only think that Allah will question us about our amals. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question us about two things. Our beliefs, our aqaid, and our amals. What aqidah we adopted about Allah, what aqidah we adopted about Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or all the prophets, what aqidah and belief we adopted about the awliya, about the righteous people, about the God-fearing, about the righteous people, the pious people, what belief we adopted. Today, what belief do we have about the pious people? We have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them the authority. Allah has given them authority that can do anything they want because Allah has given them the authority. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given authority in His power to anyone, neither any closed angel, nor any prophet, nor any pious person or any wali. Allah has not given authority to anyone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, Allah Almighty will question us about our beliefs. So therefore it is important for every believing man and woman to correct her and his beliefs. How we can correct our beliefs? Through the Quran. By sitting in the circles of these interpretation of Quran circles, we should sit because the Quran is a mirror. Quran is a mirror. If we sit in front of the Quran, then Quran will tell us where we are going wrong. When you stand in front of the mirror, the mirror will show you, where there's a spot on your face, anything. You will try to clean your face. Similarly, likewise, the Quran is a mirror for a believer. When he will sit in the front of the Quran, then he will come to know where he is going wrong. Which of his beliefs are wrong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives boys and girls, or it is Allah who gives both, or Allah who gives only one. So the ulama they say in this verse, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَحَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the He mentioned the female first. Allah mentions the female first and then Allah mentions the male. There's a hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that very woman who gives a birth to a girl in her first pregnancy is a blessed woman. She is a blessed woman. That very woman who gives a birth to a girl in her first pregnancy, she is Mubarak. This girl is a Mubarak, and there's a hint here as well. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the female first, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the male. Then male are mentioned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, Allah is saying, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا. When one of them is given a glad tidings of a newly born girl, his face becomes black, dark, gloomy. What happened? He said, I cannot take it. Then he comes to the conclusion, what shall I do? Shall I keep her? Shall I keep her? Despite having all this disgrace and shame, or shall I ditch it? Shall I just go and bury her life? So I've just mentioned some, if they decided to keep her, they would make her work and they would make her graze the animals. And some who decided not to keep, what they would do when she would become 6 years old, then they would go and bury her alive. They would go and bury her alive. So in this day and age, there are so many tribes, there are so many societies in which girl, is not accepted. Instead of rejoicing upon the birth of a girl, the atmosphere of disappointment, grief takes place in that household. So many women are divorced. So many women, the Fund ulama, we have been divorced. Why? Because I gave birth to a girl. Because this is why? This is jahiliyyah, ignorance. This is because of ignorance. Because the people, they have distanced themselves from the Quran, and this is happening. This will happen. This will happen if we stay away from the ulama. If we stay away from the ulama, this will happen. People will divorce their wives because of giving birth to a girl. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He give me and you the tawfiq of understanding the Quran correctly. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammed wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Rabbi ghfir warham wa anta khairu rahimin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khairi khalqihi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya